Let's go. Whoa, it's a bit laggy. And then the sun. Welcome to the scale of the solar system. If you double jump, you can fly very fast. You can stop by double tapping space or the jump button on mobile. Enjoy playing. Disclaimer: if you don't know what some of the terms hi Aspa are in the game, either try to figure it out yourself or look it up. Also, all distances of objects will be their semi-major axis, specifically set not to be. Yeah, you can join me. Yes, this is the sun. Why are there two? Probably okay. Oh, right. Oh, if you're wondering why this is here, textures stop the sun from glowing after a few hundred steps. So this is here for a visual of how big the sun looks from whatever object you want. And yes, the sun, of course I said that. The sun is the largest object in the solar system. And the first one you should see. You have a long way to go. This, if you're wondering, is the edge of the sun's atmosphere, which is called the corona. It ends 8 million kilometers above the solar surface. Without Mercury, you might not be able to see Mercury at this scale, but it is the smallest planet in the solar system, so you should be able to see the other planets. The journey is still just begun. Well, Venus. Venus is still kind of hard to see, but you should be able to see it at least. This is the second planet from the Sun and the hottest in the solar system. Apophis. Apophis is one of the six near-Earth objects and the closest major one to the Sun. Oh, you know a little bit about space? You'll learn a lot about space in this video, because yeah. Several years ago, there were fears that Apophis might collide with Earth in either 2029 or 2036 and possibly destroying a city, but those fears were invalidated in 2021. I don't know why my friends were fearing in 2023. Well, Earth. Earth is the planet we live on, and it also has its companion, the Moon, which is about 385,000 kilometers away. It is also the largest planet in the inner solar system, and you can see how small the sun really is if you look at it from this point. Bennu. Bennu is one of the closest near-Earth objects. It is also the only asteroid that humans have gotten samples from so far. Fun fact, if you are on its surface and you don't walk carefully enough, you might just float into space and never come back due to its low gravity. Arrows. Welcome to Eros, the closest near-Earth object to Mars, and it is famous for being shaped like a banana, being the first near-Earth object to be discovered, and for being the first asteroid a human probe landed on and orbited around. Mars. Mars is the last planet in the rather crowded inner solar system. If it is distant from the others, it is accompanied by Phobos and Deimos. Its two moons, which are impossible to see at this rate due to how small they are. Deimos. Welcome to Deimos, one of the few asteroids to have a moon. It is also the furthest major near-Earth object from the Sun and its moon. Dimorphos was the asteroid that collided with the probe in the DART mission. Alright, my old videos. I forgot to delete them, however. Yeah, I forgot to delete them. Anyways, Vesta. Welcome to the largest asteroid in the asteroid belt and the solar system. Vesta is so big that it actually has a crust, mantle, and core. It is also the closest major asteroid in the asteroid belt to the Sun. Also, Hyakso. It was also one of the few asteroids to have a probe orbit around it. Eunomia. Welcome to Eunomia, the largest stony asteroid in the asteroid belt. It also has a rather chaotic orbit. Yes, that is all I have to say. At a certain point, talking about pieces of rock is a bit hard to make interesting, but we will have to go through many more before getting to Jupiter. Juno. Welcome to Juno, the asteroid that likely is the source of many meteorites that fall to Earth. It also contains 1% of the mass of the asteroid belt. Is also very bright, which is why it was the second asteroid ever discovered, even if it is only the 10th largest asteroid in the asteroid belt. Ceres. Ceres. Whatever I pronounce it. Welcome to Ceres, the only dwarf planet in the at the asteroid belt and also the closest one to the Sun. Fun fact, it has an orbital period of 4.6 years, so it has made just shy of 1 billion orbits around the Sun in its time of existence. Also, if you're wondering why you can't see it, it is because it is not there in game, but you won't be able to see it anyway if it was there, even if it was there because how small it is. And this fact will apply for all objects under a radius of 700 kilometers. Yeah. But there's no black holes in this game, so yeah. Pallas. Welcome to Pallas, the first asteroid ever discovered and the second to be discovered in the asteroid belt after Ceres. The Ceres, whatever, is also the second largest asteroid and also has the most cratered surface in the asteroid belt, often being described as looking like a golf ball. Ida. Welcome to Ida, the first asteroid discovered to have the moon. The Galileo spacecraft was headed to Jupiter, flew by Ida, and discovered its moon, Saturn. Ida is also rich in geologic features. Size. Welcome to Size, the largest M-type asteroids. M-type asteroids are asteroids that contain more precious materials than other asteroids, and thus Psyche's total value in US dollars is around 10 quintillion dollars, or about one 100,000 times the entire world's GDP in 2025 or 2026, because we're in 2026 right now. Psyche is the sixth largest asteroid in the entire asteroid belt. Inoramnia. Welcome to Inoramnia, perhaps the most neglected asteroid by the scientific community. It is the fourth largest asteroid in the solar system, but it wasn't discovered until 1910 as the 704th asteroid discovered yet, and yet we still don't know much about this asteroid. I am sorry, guys, but oh, I thought I was about to say that the game crashed or froze. Whatever. 52 Europa. Oh, my friend Wilden is joined. 52 Europa. Welcome to 52 Europa. Another neglected asteroid. Only two things I can say about it are that it is the fifth largest asteroid and has the same name as Jupiter's moon, Europa, which is why I had to put the asteroid's number in the name. I think Europa is here. No, Electra. Welcome to Electra, the only object in the solar system with 3 moons. It is also the asteroid with the most moons. Electra. Electra was previously thought to have 2 moons until 2021 when the third moon was announced. Hygeia. Welcome to Hygeia, the third largest asteroid in the solar system. It was also only the 10th asteroid discovered due to how dark it is. Lastly, its major axis is 3.1415 AU. Wait, isn't that the first 5 digits of pi from the sun? Which you might notice that is the first 5 digits of pi. Yes, I know that. But seriously, how? Bleep P comet. Welcome to Bleep P, the first comet you will see so far and the last thing before Jupiter. No! Don't! I'll pause reading for a moment. It is a relatively unremarkable comet, barely getting farther out than Jupiter and not making it closer than Earth, with thousands of objects that are very similar to it. Its claim to fame, however, that it was the target of the famous Rosette mission, the first mission to land on orbit and study a comet. It's also interestingly shaped like a binky because 2 comets slowly collided with each other and fused to make Bleep P. Well, why is it freezing? Wait, it isn't freezing, but my screen is. My I overshot Jupiter! Sorry guys, I overshot Jupiter. So Jupiter with Amalthea, Io, Europa, Ganymede, Callisto. Why are you saying that? Because my screen is starting to freeze? Or whatever it's pronounced. Oh, hello, Austin. If it took you a while to get here, I warn you. I would highly suggest using one of the 3 methods of traveling faster that I gave you in the beginning of the game. If you want to get anywhere further, that said, you made it to the largest planet in the solar system, Jupiter. It is accompanied by Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto, which are the 4 Thalian moons. The next planet, Saturn, is around twice the distance from the Sun that you just traveled to here. Well, let's look out for some other objects before Saturn. Never mind, there was no objects at all. Wait, pause. Korea. Wait, is that the Napoleon song? Isn't that the Napoleon song? Okay, Saturn, Mimas, Enceladus, Tessis, Dione, Rhea, Titan, Hyperion. Then why did you say that? I can't guess it. Iaptius, Phoebe, 5202 S2004 S52. Welcome to the 6th planet in our solar system, Saturn. It is also accompanied by Titan, its largest moon and the 2nd largest in the solar system, and 145 other moons. Saturn is the... Wait, why am I speaking in a British accent? Saturn has the most moons in the solar system. It also has its famous set of rings. The next planet, Uranus, is around twice the distance traveled thus far. Whoa! We overshot something! Chiron. Welcome to Chiron, perhaps one of the most unusual objects in the solar system. Let's start off with the fact that it was the first centaur ever discovered. Centaurs are objects in between Jupiter and Neptune, in distance from the Sun, but they are not in the gas giants or their moons. Secondly, Charon is the second largest, smallest object. Smallest object in the solar system to have rings. And third, Charon is classified as both a minor planet and a comet, which also makes it the only comet in the solar system to have rings that we know about. Let's look out for more objects so far. Wait, I see one over there. What? What? Chiriclo. Welcome to Chiriclo. The largest centaur is a lot like Charon in many ways, although it is not classified as a comet and its rings are much more defined. Also, Chiriclo is the most stable orbit out of all the major centaurs, and that is important because all of the centaurs are in unstable orbits that are likely to collapse in a few million years. What? What do you mean that the ratio has become Triton? Triton? Wait, isn't that a moon? I forgot which. Halley's Comet. Welcome to Halley's Comet. Yep, it's the comet. The comet. Yeah, you'll see Triton soon anyway. Undoubtedly the most famous comet in the solar system, as it is the only comet that orbits around the sun in less than 200 years and is visible to the naked eye when closest to the sun. It famously occurred in 1986, and when it was at the closest point to the sun, and is expected to come back in 2061. You may not know this, but most comet orbits like this one are extremely elongated. For example, Halley's Comet gets closer to the sun than Venus and farther away than Neptune. Value or simply is the average between the closest and the farthest the comet is from the sun or the semi-major axis. Huh? Wait, what? What? What the? I think my game crashed, y'all. And this is where the universe couldn't handle anything. Or is it just me? Yeah, you know what? Let's just go back. Let's just go back. What ritual are you talking about? Your game crashed when dial appeared? Yeah. I played some space games in the timeline. Fix! What fix? Fix Wilden! Wilden! Wilden. Let's find the lowest player server. We've just found it. Wait. What? Well, we're back again. I don't know how that even happened. At this point, we need a whole new, like, you know, let's check the object sector, Halley's Comet, or whom? I am so confused right now. I'm at this permanent confused state for a long, long time. Yeah, this was Halley's Comet. We just passed it. And now we're entering Uranus. But seriously, don't joke about it, please. Please. Miranda, Ariel, Umbrio, Titania, Oberon. Also, please keep yourself mature, okay? Please. Ferdinand. Welcome to the seventh planet from the sun, Uranus planet. Yeah, Uranus the planet. Roblox moderation, please don't hurt me. It has 5 major moons, but only 2 are big enough to see, which are Titania and Oberon. The planet has 28 moons in total. It is also the coldest planet in the solar system and the least massive gas planet in the solar system. Yeah, we need to look out for more objects between Uranus and Neptune. Care is understood. What? Proxima Centauri B? No. Neptune. Proteus. And yes, the Triton. The Triton. Narrate. S 2021 and 1. Yup, the dwarf planet. You have made it to the last planet in the solar system. It is the smallest gas planet, only accompanied by 1 major moon, Triton. Along with the 15 others, the only object after Neptune are dwarf planets and asteroids in the Kuiper Belt and scattered disk. So, congratulations for making it this far. Chill out, that is not arguing. That is not arguing, bro. That is not arguing. Chill out, bro, chacho. Well, chill out. That is just a family gathering. Okay? That is just a family gathering. Okay? So chill out. Bro, what? You burst? I'm gonna burst into laughter too. Because you said that. Wait. Objects coming in the Kuiper Belt. Orcus. What? Orcus. Welcome to Orcus, the first major object in the Kuiper Belt, along with the second dwarf planet from the Sun. Orcus is also often called the anti-Pluto because it is constantly on the other side of its orbit from Pluto. Lempo. Welcome to Lempo, or Four, 47171 Lempo. It is officially named the only trinary bodies that will be featured in the game, and also the only major trinary system in the Kuiper Belt. You may have noticed that it wasn't, bruh, a very long walk from Orcus, and that is because this area of the Kuiper Belt is extremely dense with objects. However, it won't stay that way forever. Pluto, Charon. Welcome to Pluto, arguably the most famous object in the Kuiper Belt and extremely close to Lempo. It has 5 moons, including Charon. Wait, I'm gonna mute this for a short time. Wait, where was I? It has 5 moons, including Charon, which is the largest moon. Bro, I did crash! Bro, I said I was muted! Oh my goodness! Including Charon, which is the largest moon at around half the size of Pluto, and it's so large that Pluto and Charon are actually in a binary system. It's also the largest trans-Neptunian object on the dwarf planet, just larger than Eris. Charon, Triton, Rig, Charon. What? I couldn't read all that. I'm so sorry, but I couldn't read all that. Ixion. Oh, Charon, Triton. Bruh. Welcome to Ixion, the first major object of Pluto. It has a rather chaotic orbit, a magenta color, and scientists thought that it was much bigger than it actually was when it was discovered. I don't have much else to say. What? This skill is called prediction. I'm so sorry. Core! Manny. 1002 MS4. Welcome to once the largest unnamed object in the solar system, as it was named Manny in June 2025. It has extremely jagged terrain, 70 kilometers down from the highest peak to the lowest valley, and a dark gray color. Again, not much else to say. 2004 GB9. Welcome to 2004 GB9, one of the largest unnamed object in the solar system. The only other thing to say about this object is that it was one of the first TNOs to be photographed, with images of it predating to 1954 before it even was discovered. Celestia. What great beauty! Welcome to Celestia. One of the darkest TNOs, and its moon are the tightest knit TNO system with a hill sphere. What? Hill sphere to semi-major axis of the moon at 0.0023. The moon Actia is also the same color as Celestia. What do you mean by great beauty? 2002 UX25. Welcome to 2002 UX25, the lowest density TNO. In fact, is less dense than water. It is also the one of the largest unnamed objects in the solar system and has a moon. Nothing else to say. Verona. Welcome to Verona, the closest ellipsoid to the Sun. Due to its rotation period at around 6 hours, it is shaped like an ellipsoid rather than a sphere. It is also theorized to have a moon, even if we can't quite see it, and it has a density just less than water. Haumea. Namaka Yakya. Welcome to Haumea, the largest ellipsoid in the solar system. It has a rotation period of 3.9 hours that gives it that shape. It is also the third largest TNO and has 2 moons. It also has a density that is around twice the usual density of a TNO and is made out of mostly rock instead of ice. Ice mice, huh? Quaoar. Welcome to Quaoar, the second largest ellipsoid in the solar system. Quaoar also is one of the 2 TNOs to have a ring system, and it has a moon that is shaped similarly to an egg. Quaoar is also theorized to have an incredibly small methane atmosphere with a density 100 million times less than Earth's. Phew, at least the noiser is gone. Orocos. Welcome to Orocos, the most well-known asteroid in the Kuiper Belt. It was picked as the next target for the New Horizons mission. After Pluto, and it flew by Orocos on January 1st, 2019. Yeah. That is why we know it so well. We think that it may be the cause of 2 smaller asteroids that were once in a binary colliding at a low speed due to it being shaped like a peanut. Peanut? No. I'm kind of allergic to peanuts, you know. Well, it's common. Make MK2. Yeah. Welcome to Make, the 4th largest TNO in the solar system. It has a chance of having a subsurface ocean. Its orbit is extremely tilted from the elliptic around 30 degrees, and there really isn't much else to say, even if it is one of the largest TNOs. Florida. Welcome to Florida, perhaps the least interesting object so far. The only things I could find about it are that it's the TNO with the lowest albedo and exactly 2 years after its discovery. The first private named manned spaceflight happened. Florida? How is Verda Florida? Y'all are weird anyways. Y'all are weird. Y'all are mishearing things. 2002 AW197. Welcome to 2002 AW197. One of the largest unnamed objects in the solar system is also very close to the Kuiper Belt cliff. The border between the Kuiper belt and the scattered disk. It is one of the few objects in the Kuiper belt that is not in a resonance with Neptune. Sniper! I'm sorry. What kind of a sniper? Bruh. I'm gonna snipe you, Austin! If you say that once more. Not really. Not really, though. Scope Sniper the GOAT? What? What is my live stream chat on to, guys? What is my live stream chat on to? Bruh. My live stream chat is on something? More like on something. Ah! Lalaku Hanua Goblin. Welcome to Lalaku Hanua. At its closest distance to the sun, in reality, its semi-major axis is around 1,000 AU, making it on average the farthest major object from the sun, so by far, and the major object with the longest orbit period. The last time it was in the position it is in today, the Neanderthals were going extinct, which was 40,000 years ago. On a less serious note, the object was nicknamed the Goblin shortly after discovery because the letters TG in its designation. Yeah, Hippopotamonstrossus squipedaliophobia. Am I right? And its discovery date near Halloween. Gong Gong. Jiangliu. Why does it sound Chinese? Welcome to Gong Gong, the first major object in the scattered disk, and extremely far from the sun. In fact, the last time it was in the position was during 2015. The New World had yet been discovered. Even if it was this far out, we were able to find a moon around it. What do you mean yours? Eris. Dysnomia. Welcome to Eris, the second most distant dwarf planet from the sun. It is also the second largest dwarf planet. It is also the most massive dwarf planet. The Minecraft position? The most massive dwarf planet, and it has a moon called Dysnomia. It is also the most famous scattered disk object, and even with its distance from the sun, it is rather bright. Hold on tight! 2020 BE 102. Welcome to 2020 BE 102. It is one of the most distant objects from the sun that we know of, yet its orbit is rather close to the ecliptic, unlike many other far-out objects. Also, this object was discovered exactly 172 years after the Californian gold rush began. Sedna. Bee planets? Welcome to Sedna. At its closest point to the sun, its semi-major axis is at around 500 AU. This makes it the major orbit with the second farthest distance from the Sun on average, and also makes it the major object with the second longest orbital period in the solar system. How is that the sigma? Second longest orbital period in the solar system. With only the Goblin beating Sedna in both metrics. He traveled around an incredibly far distance to get here, so congratulations for making it. But Great Comet of 1843. Welcome to the Great Comet of 1843. This comet became famous for passing only 800,000 kilometers from the Sun in 1843, which was the closest ever seen by any object at that time. Also, after that close approach to the Sun, it got an extremely long tail, which was over 2 times the distance from the Earth to the Sun long. And it was the longest comet tail ever recorded until 1996. Comet Lovejoy. Welcome to Comet Lovejoy, or more specifically, C2011 WC. It is famous for passing incredibly close to the Sun in 2011, when it last got to its closest point to the Sun. It was only 140,000 kilometers above the solar surface and coming at 1.2 million miles per hour, or almost 2 million kilometers per hour. Many people didn't even expect to come out in one piece, but somehow it did. AG37, far out. Welcome to 2018 AG37, or far out. This object was discovered on the same day of the year that Wikipedia was founded, January 15. We currently think that far out is between 400 and 800 kilometers in diameter, making it large enough to be a dwarf planet and around the same size as far out. Also, we still aren't quite sure. In fact, what? Love planet. Also, we still aren't quite sure about the nature of far out's orbit yet, because we have only been able to observe it for a few years. The object is extremely dark, and far out's orbit time is extremely long, around 700 years. What? 2012 VP 113. Biden. Welcome to 2012 VP 113. As closest point to the Sun, or Biden as it is nicknamed. The reason why it got that nickname was because the letters VP in its designation, which could stand for Vice President, and Joe Biden was the Vice President of the United States when the object was discovered. Also, Biden was discovered in November 5th, the same day that Honduras got its independence. And finally, this object is the second with the VIP planet with the furthest perihelion from the Sun. Perihelion means the closest point to a parent object in an object's orbit. (2018 VG18 far out). Welcome to 2018 VG18, which is an interesting named far out, even if its small semi-major axis is farther from the sun than far out. The two objects were named like this because at the time of their discoveries, far out was farther from the sun than far out. Also, far out interestingly has a pinkish tone of color, and the object was discovered a day before Veterans Day in the United States, or for non-Americans, the anniversary of World War I ending. Great Comet of 1882 B. Welcome to the Great Comet of 1882 B. You may be wondering why the name has a B at the end, and that is because the last time the comet passed by in the sun in 1882, it broke into several pieces, this being one of them. This comet is famous for being an incredibly bright comet, as even during the daytime you can see the comet next to the sun for many hours before and after its closest pass to the sun. Planet is obese? What do you mean? Termination shock. The termination shock is the point from the sun where solar wind slows down to less than 1/4 of the speed it had been going, which is the speed of sound for them, which is 100 kilometers per second in deep space. This barrier is also made by the solar wind particles going below their speed of sound and making a gigantic shockwave encasing the entire solar system because of how many of them there are. This point is the beginning of the end of the traditional solar system, and it is at 89 AU from the sun, or the average of the two distances that the Voyager probe encountered back. Wait, I see something. Akayaseki 8. Welcome to Akayaseki 8, a comet. You may be wondering why there is an A at the end of the name, and that is because the last time the comet came close to the sun, it broke apart, and this is one of the leftover pieces. Is that comet? What? Hi, Alex. When Akayaseki passed by the sun in 1965. Also, is this one of the pieces that broke out like that? Like in that B1? Well, when Akayaseki passed by the sun in 1965, it came only 450,000 kilometers over the solar surface, and it was so bright that it could even be seen during the day, and now its pieces are going beyond the reaches of the traditional solar system. Whoa! You passed something. C1983H1. Welcome to Comet C1983H1, which is famous for passing less than 5 million, okay, bye, kilometers from Earth in 1983 when it passed by, it appeared as a circular cloud the size of the full moon, and this comet orbits the sun only once every 970 years. Well, just turn off your phone because if they hear me, you're cooked. I'm cooked and you're cooked. And maybe. (2014 UZ 224 DD). I guess you're quite shocked to find an object this far out after so much travel. But welcome to 2014 UZ 224 or DD. It was given that nick. Yep, Day. But welcome to 2014 UZ 224 or DD. It was given that nickname to stand for Distant Dwarf. DD means distant dwarf, okay? And the last time it was in its current position in its orbit, William the Conqueror had not been born yet. Heliopause. Welcome to the end of the traditional solar system. The heliopause this is where solar wind from the sun has gotten weak enough to where the galactic radiation has the same pressure as it, and so when solar winds stop here, this may be the end of the traditional solar system, but it is not the end of the game or the actual solar system, as there is still objects orbiting the sun and influenced by the sun's gravity beyond here. However, it is still impressive that you have made it here, traveler. Congratulations. I think we saw a sign over there. Whoa! Comet Bennett. Welcome to Comet Bennett, one of the farthest objects in the game. It was famous for being one of the brightest comets in the 20th century and the first to be observed by astronauts in space. Another interesting fact, it spends more time out of the traditional solar system than inside it. Here we are. The last one, Comet Donati. Welcome to Comet Donati, the last object you will encounter before the end of the game. So congratulations for getting here. Anyways, humans before and after Comet Donati got close to the sun in 1858, it was the second brightest comet seen in the 1800s, and it was reportedly also one of the most beautiful comets ever observed. Also, it was importantly the first comet ever to be photographed. Bruh, donuts? Bruh. Also, this was the end. But there's still the end points, you know? So we have to look out for that. Whoa! How did I jump? How did I jump like that? That's insane because I have not clicked that jump button. And here you are. Hello, adventurer. You have traveled an incredibly far distance from the sun, or 26,192,550,000 kilometers. That is just less than 26.2 billion kilometers. Congratulations for getting here, and I hope you enjoyed my game. This is also the end of the game. Thank you for playing. And guess what? Whoops, I glitched out. And also, it all starts at the sun. So don't forget that it all starts from the sun. So for now, bye guys. I hope you enjoyed this space stream. This was an incredibly long stream, like 1 hour. I didn't expect it to be 1 hour. I thought it would be like 45 minutes, but a whole hour now. So for now, bye guys.